With that, we'll proceed to our next speaker. We have with us Dr. Lalit Eduri Sanjay, who is the Dean and the Faculty of Management and Social Science in SINAC campus, Sri Lanka. We welcome you, Professor.
Professor Naik, Assistant Professor Yankee Artijasti, and Dr. Prem Kumar, and all the other distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen, Ayubowan, Namaste, and good morning from Sri Lanka. Let me share my presentation. So today, my topic is about the conceptual approach in tourism through tourism logistics. But Dr. Prem was asking me to give a little brief on Sri Lanka's current situation in tourism, so that I will start with that and then move on to the specific subject. So the next 20 minutes, it will be a snapshot of tourism in Sri Lanka and moving to employment and business impact due to COVID-19, and then the key subject, that is logistics, and then tourism logistics concept, and then moving on to why tourism logistics is fundamental in the service optimization in tourism sector. So just a snapshot, you can see the tourist attraction in Sri Lanka. It's a small country and with, full of tourist attractions. And I have taken up to 2018 because we had this in 2019, the Easter Sunday attack, and then followed by the 2020 with this COVID-19 pandemic. So if I use those 2 years, it will give a different interpretation. So I just want to avoid that. But I will give you the post-pandemic situation separately. But this is the kind of tourist arrivals and the earnings, and then the total employment out of tourists up to 2018. And then also I would like to share the top 10 tourists generating countries into Sri Lanka. Of course, India, number 1, our friends, and then moving on to China, United Kingdom, Germany, Australia, France, and so on. Then a little bit about the 2019 and 2020. You can see the impact even after 2019 to 2020. There is a serious impact to tourism. So from 10.4 to it has declined to 4.9 in the overall total economy. So it's a minus 55.6 change. And then with the number of jobs, you can see 888,000 have come down to 674. So we need to think about how to overcome. And the concept that I'm going to present today is actually it's ideal in the current situation where we need to come back on tourism. So what is logistics? So basically the logistics is the way to do something right. And also, if you further elaborate that, it's managing a complex activity under challenging conditions to derive maximum output using minimum resources. So that's why I say we are having a complex industry. Tourism is a very complex industry, and we are having a challenging conditions now. And we don't know when this will end. So still people are trying with various ways and means to overcome. So in commercial terms, what logistics is, it is explained as the strategic management of the flow of goods and services from production flow to the consumers. Then you will wonder, if it is about goods and services, why the tourism sector is worried about this. Of course, we have to worry about, so I will explain why and how this logistics is making an impact on tourism and how logistics can be helpful to find solutions for current problems as well as all the recurring problems in tourism industry. So let's see the difference between the logistics and tourism logistics. So from the left side, you will see a basic logistics process. That is, from a manufacturer, if he wants to manufacture something, he manufacture it and sell it to a customer. So you need to transform a raw material into a finished products and then sell it to a customer. So you need transportation to get your raw materials in place, maybe from overseas or maybe from domestic sources. Whatever it is, you need transportation. And then you need a warehousing facility to store your raw materials as well as your finished goods. And from there, you send it to the consumer. So this is the logistics in normal conditions, commercial situation. In that, to do this right, the logistics book that was published this year is explaining a new variables where you need to have correct product, correct price at the correct quantity and correct quality, using the correct statutory rules and regulations, and at the right time, using the right information and delivering to the right place. So that is the commercial perspectives of logistics. Then see the similar thing, the engine is similar in the middle and you call it logistics. So it starts with service provider of logistics service. And you need transportation and you need hospitality to back up your service. And finally, you are also targeting your customer, that is the tourist. So the same phenomenon, or rather variables, need to be fulfilled. You need to offer the right product at the right price, in the right quantity, right quality, using the statutory terms, at the right time, using right information and the right place. And let's see more. Now, tourism logistics process. So transportation, transporting the tourists, the passenger transport is required. Not only that, the goods that are required for tourists in the hospitality sector is required to happen. So that is what we call cargo transportation, goods. And then it facilitates the hospitality sector. So here, to offer a complete service to your customer, that is your tourist, you need transportation as well as hospitality. And for both, you need this logistics to happen. Passenger transport plus cargo transport. Let's see one example of passenger transport. If you use through air, see how many links you have to pass. Travel agency, then the bank, global distribution systems, airline host system, online travel agencies, the airline websites, the airlines, and physical movement of the person. Similarly, there are other modes like rail, then the road transportation, passenger ships, and so on. So let's look at the goods transportation side, because it is essential and indispensable to offer your hospitality services. A hotel cannot run without these goods coming on time. There is a maximum amount that you can store in any hotel. Your warehouse needs to be filled with the required items time to time, frequently. We all know after this COVID pandemic situation, then only we realize the importance of logistics. When you go to the supermarket and when you realize that the shelves are empty, then you realize that somebody has been filling these shelves. Therefore, we had no problem. When you go to the supermarket, the things were available. But if there are disruptions somewhere, then you feel the difference. See how many things are happening. What a big operation that take place in delivering these goods. That is goods transportation, which is required for hospitality industries. You have exports goods if you are importing from another country. So there are transport decisions taking place, statutory terms and conditions, then documentation parts, finance controls, and then only through a freight forwarder, you import your goods. See the other side. There are dynamic transportation management systems are required. Physical movement is required finally. Then planning and execute administration, logistics platforms, political, legal, economical, social, and environmental factors is getting into picture. And with all that, you need to optimize for sustainable, less carbon. And finally, you get this item to the consignee using all these transport modes. Now, you have a little bit of understanding about cargo transportation plus the passenger transportation. Now, let's see, think about a conceptual approach to tourism in these angles. So I found one definition because we get fairly less, very limited number of publications about this tourism logistics. The first one I found in somewhere in 2013, where it says the tourism logistics is the science of planning, control, and management of operations carrying out during the process of preparing the travel offers, delivery of finished product to customer in compliance with his or her interest and requirements, as well as during the process transfer, storage, and processing of information concerned. So you can see the sectors and activities involved here. this is about tourism supply chain, and the other one is about the marketing side, the consumer behavioral model. So using these two, basically, when you really take this, the indispensable nature of logistics in tourism, I came up with this model where it starts with the basic tourism, the parameters which basically influence the tourism destinations: attraction, accessibility, accommodation, and amenities. And then we know there are economic factors that really impact this tourism sector. Then the social factors and the marketing and sales influence, push and pull, because tourism being a service nature of product, there are both push and pull marketing is required. So with all that, you get the influence or rather impact to the choice of destination. Now, once you get the choice of destination, what happens next? As I mentioned earlier, you need transportation and you need hospitality to move your customer, that is your tourist, to the right place and to offer him the hospitality the way that he demands. So in transportation, you need to have the movement of people and supply of materials. And from the hospitality, you need lodging, food and beverage, recreation, entertainment, so on. And from whatever the transportation, whether it is passenger transport or supply of materials, you need to consider power, mode, labor, and infrastructure. This is actually a new definition about transport, which is coming in the new book that we launched on logistics in our local language, which will be translated into English in a near future. What we call the fundamentals in transport: power, mode, labor, and infrastructure. And when you have the hospitality running and you create the service and you deliver it, and your customer consume the tourism services, because we know since tourism is a service industry, the consumption and the production happens simultaneously. So with all that, this part where I have demarcated in red color is tourism logistics. Now let's see the re-engineering of the same model. Why tourism logistics is fundamental in the service optimization is that transportation, it has economic factors. Transportation and hospitality are connected. Hospitality has social factors. Transportation gives the accessibility. Hospitality provides the accommodation. The service creation needs attraction, accommodation, amenities. Service consumption too needs accessibility, attraction, and it has a relationship with marketing. Then the transportation has social factors. So with all that, you can see when you review from the tourism logistics to see how this has been generated, you can see the relevance and the relationship of tourism into the logistics. Why tourism cannot happen without proper logistics in place? So this COVID-19 has given us a good lesson that we need logistics to happen without any interference if all what we require is to be taken place. So why not the tourism? So this is the message that I wanted to deliver. The tourism logistics is a new concept, an emerging concept, where it gives the message to the society that using right logistics, you can improve your tourism sector. So in Sri Lanka, we have a policy formula called, we are always from the university level, what we do is we always do a vertical integration of all the important subjects with schools, so that we have introduced this logistics in school curriculum about 3 years ago, and now we are moving forward with tourism. So most probably by next year, we will be doing that vertical integration of tourism in the Sri Lankan secondary education level. So this is from Gandhi. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor, for such an insightful speech on tourism logistics. I'm pretty sure all our students and the research scholars who have joined today's conference have gained a lot from whatever you shared with us. Thank you so much, Dr. Lalit, for helping us out with the entire process of signing the Memorandum of Understanding with SINEC Sri Lanka, and also being a part of organizing this international conference. And thank you so much for being a keynote speaker for the conference as well. We appreciate the effort that you have put in the entire process. Thank you.